Okay, in this video we're going to be talking about triangle classification. So we got different types of triangles that we classify. We classify them by their sides and their angles. Okay, so my first one here, we have congruent sides, so it's going to be called 16. So none of the sides are the same. My next one is going to be an isosceles, where two sides are the congruent, and then in this, two angles will also be congruent. So if you draw arrows to see which angles open up to them, you can see which angles are also congruent. And then my last one here is equilateral. Equilateral is also equiangular, so all the sides are congruent and all the angles are congruent. Okay, in this, since we have 180 degrees in all of the angles added up in a triangle, if all of them need to be the same, then these are all going to be 60. Oops, equilateral. Okay, all acute angles, so it's an acute triangle. So all my angles are going to be smaller than 90, so examples would be 60, 80, and 40. Okay, so all of your angles need to be smaller than 90 degrees. Your next one, you got one angle that's bigger than 90, so we got obtuse. And then we have, for our last one, a right triangle, because it's got that little box in there. That's supposed to say right. Okay, this would be 90 degrees. So classify each triangle by its angles and its sides. Well, I know it is a right triangle because it's got a right angle, and I know two sides are congruent, so it's an isosceles. So it's a right isosceles triangle. Okay, my next one, we got an obtuse angle, so I can say obtuse, and none of the sides are the same, so scalene. Okay, so we're going to learn some more definitions with triangles. So median is a line segment joining a vertex. So remember, vertex is always where that alligator meets. If it's on a triangle, it's going to be that triangle's corner. To the midpoint of the opposing side. Remember, midpoint means the middle point. So median basically means middle. So it goes from a corner and goes to the middle of the opposite side, which means the sides left and right of it would be congruent because it sits in the middle. Okay, then we got some examples. So we're saying QU, find x if TV is x minus 1, QV is 2x minus 1, and my QU is a median. Okay, so if it's a median, that means these are congruent. So I'm going to go ahead and label on my picture. It says TV, that whole length is x minus 1, QV, this length here is 2x minus 8. Okay, if these are congruent, it means they're the same. So this other length here is 2x minus 8. I've got two smalls and it's big, so I can add my two smalls, set it equal to my big. So I add those two smalls. They were the same because it's a median, which means both sides are congruent, and we set it equal to its big. Okay, 2x plus 2x gets me 4x. Negative 8 minus 8 gets me negative 16. We can subtract x and get 3x. And then also add 16 in the same set. So we get 15, divide by 3. I got x equal 5. Okay, my next one. Same thing, it's a median, so that means these sides are congruent, so they'll be the same equations. So it says the big one is 3x minus 4. EG is x, which makes the other one x, so I can add my two small, set it equal to my big. So x plus x equals 3x minus 4. X plus x gets me 2x. If I subtract 3x to get my x's on the same side, I now have negative x equals negative 4. divide by -1, I get x to be 4. So just remember median, middle. Okay, here are some other ones. Altitude is a line that extends from the vertex, so my corner of my triangle, of a triangle perpendicular to the opposite side. So altitude will always be a perpendicular line, so it will always make a right angle. Okay, our symbol for perpendicular is like an upside down T. That upside down T tells me that there's going to be right angles in my problem. So altitude, think of your upside down T. If you think about it, altitude has a T in it. So you think of your upside down T, it's going to be the perpendicular one. The next one is perpendicular bisector, so a line segment that is both perpendicular to a side of a triangle and passes through its midpoint. Okay, so it bisects. It's perpendicular. So my perpendicular motion means right angle, and it's bisecting the other side. Bisect means it's congruent, makes the left side and right sides congruent. Okay, my last one here is an angle bisector. Just cuts that angle in half, like our picture here. So it goes from the vertex to the opposite side, cutting my angle in half, which makes two smaller congruent angles. All right, so we're going to do some of these. Let's just go ahead and knock out angle bisector of angle C. So it is just going to cut that angle in half, so you would show that they're congruent here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and erase that to do some of the other ones so it doesn't get confusing. So there was that one. Perpendicular bisector of AB. So here is AB. Okay, it needs to be perpendicular and bisect it. Okay, so it's opening up to this C here. It needs to be perpendicular and it needs to bisect it. So it needs to cut it in half. Okay, my next one is altitude using base BC. Altitude is just perpendicular. So here's my BC. It needs to open up to angle A. This one's a trick one. So if I do this to make it my perpendicular line, it doesn't go to that angle A. In this situation, we need to extend my CB, and then when I come from that angle, I can make a right angle in there so that it comes from my angle and is still perpendicular. Okay, my last one is median of AC. So median means middle. So here's my AC. I know it needs to shoot off of B and be in the middle. So to show it's in the middle, the sides on the left and right of it are going to be congruent.